Hi, this is Dana, and on my channel I speak about on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. Um, I want to point out in the beginning that I created two playlists because already I have over 140 videos uploaded. So sometimes maybe the information is not so easy to find if you're not patient enough. And so I made two playlists. One is dedicated for meditations or energy work, self-healing energy work, and this is actually the title as well, because I think that is extremely important for everyone to find easily, and even if you want to review later on the same video, or use it more times, whatever, then it's easy to find it. So that's one of the playlists. The other one I made on, I called it the Matrix and the religious spirituality. And I tried to put into that one all my videos, or most of my videos, related to these organizations, right? I mean, the matrix is everything that we experience. The entire spiritual warfare is against the matrix. But as I explained in one of my videos, this is a multi-layered structure of many organizations, and some of them are fully enrolled, others are only cooperating, are associating with themselves with other institutions. So it's very broad, but so far I only made videos on these uh, secret organizations focused on religious spirituality, because this to me, it seems that is most important. I guess because partly because I in my spiritual fighting, or in throughout my existence, to me these attacks seemed the most harmful. Okay, so this is why I focused on them, because also they seem the most atrocious ones in the way they behave, and the harm they do on people, and the type of contracts they create on people, and sacrifices and so on, and offerings to other forces and so on. Otherwise, the spiritual fighting is very broad, and much of, I mean, even if you pray, that's part of the spiritual fighting. If you cleanse your house, that's part of the spiritual fighting as well. If you clean your energy, that's part of the spiritual fighting as well. But these particular organizations, which I about which I already made videos, to me it seems like they play very dramatic role because of the type of occult practices, dark practices they employ, right? And because the bondages they create, I don't know how, actually, I do know how to say this. The bondages they create take time to break. This is my own experience. So if they make a sacrifice contract on you, let's say to Satan or to Anunnaki or to whatever, it takes time. It's not just one attack which you reject and that's it. It takes time. And basically, once a contract or sacrifice like this was done, you cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. That force comes to collect. So it's a matter extremely serious. There are many other dangerous attacks by technology and so on. But technology, you turn it off, you stopped the attack. Of course, those are painful and dramatic as well. But again, but for me, I am interested particularly to point out those which essentially employ other forces. Therefore, at some point, the decision making, it's not up to anyone around anymore, not even up to God. And I want to emphasize this. I've learned this in my own experience, going through lots of frustrations and complaining to God about how long it takes something. And God explained to me, these are things which take time. This type of darkness work takes time because these are the rules of astral which everybody should observe, including God. For example, there are things and sacrifice rituals which were done on me in 2018, and those cycle closed this year. And God showed me it closed precisely on the same day, the same month. So it took full cycle of 4 years. So for example, in 1 year, you need to break the karmic bondage, and then you break these contracts made on you. After you break the karmic bondage between you and the individual who created that. So you break the karmic bondage, which the karmic relation, which is a cycle in itself, right, of 7 years. And after you break the karmic cycle, then you can break the contracts with the other forces. And again, for many of these, there's only one specific window of opportunity when it can be closed. There is when it's the due time, God says, when is the due time. And that doesn't depend on God. God will help you to stay alive and continue fighting to reach the proper time when you actually close up that contract. And keep in mind that that's because the force comes to collect. God helps you to fight, so the force won't have the effect on you, to take you, for example. But it will go to somebody else, to the ones who send it to you. So or maybe they do, and I don't know what they do further. Maybe they do sacrifice, they offer somebody else instead of you, or whatever. I don't know what they do, but the point is, as I understand, I think normally, as far as I know, is that it goes after the one who actually made the offering. That's the one who actually pay. Okay, so I made these playlists because of this, because I believe this is more dramatic, and it's not up to human decision making, and some of them are not even up to God, because there are specific timeline which must be closed, and God of course will help you to continue your fighting to get to that point. But for example, they do this because they are upset or something, but if they change their mind, they cannot stop that anymore. This is what I want to point out. This is why I think they are so crazy lunatics. Because if tomorrow you wake up differently and you realize you made a mistake and you want to change it, you can't. You cannot change these things. These are very, very serious situations. And I remember that in 2018 I went to bioenergetician, were recommended by a priest from the monastery. So the priest said, you should go to see this bioenergetician because this is witchcraft and he can help you. And I was like, you're a priest, why can't you help me? Anyway, I went to see that bioenergetician. Essentially, he said, he refused. He said he needs the approval from those who created this on me in order. Actually, he said this to me. If you come with them at me and they say that they agree, then I can clean this up. If you can imagine this. I said, you must be joking, but they created this on me. How would I convince them now to come to you and agree? Anyhow, the point is, I left, and when I left, that individual actually said, you really need to pray for your soul. He really didn't believe I would make it. He actually looked into my eyes and he really told me that he doesn't believe I will make it out of this unless I make a compromise with the individuals who created this on me. So this is why I want to point out that these are extremely serious. I'm not the kind of person, of course, you guys, you don't know me, but I'm not the kind of person who has nothing else to do than to make videos unless I do believe that is something really important that could really help someone. And of course, also because God is guiding me to do it. But this is why I made this playlist, and I'm making this footnotes in this video because I really want to help people understand. I mean, if you go through this, you'll understand it yourself through your own experience. But I really want to help everyone understand that these are really dramatic, serious situations. And it really, once they are created, you cannot stop this. This will be accomplished one way or another. You can only work with God to accomplish these cycles victorious. But somebody will be the loser because that force will come to collect. So somebody will be either a victim, or then it will be sort of like if the one who pays will be the creator, then it will be a punishment that's well deserved for the foolishness of doing these things. So these are really, really serious matters. That's why I made a playlist, and I wanted to make it easier for you to find informations which I mentioned in different videos about this. Now, what I want to add in this video, God has guided me to do this. It's sort of one how to say this, one ring in the chain of the matrix, which I discovered way before I started consciously spiritual fighting, right? As I told already the story in some of the videos about that toxic individual who was insistent on, it was very, I really don't even know how to say it. He was very insistent on an open relation and so on. I specified then that I met that individual as he was doing investigations on a case in which I was victim of stolen identity, and this was happening in 2014. And so, somebody created a page with my name, with my picture, and they were putting out information related to diplomacy, Romania's relations with the United States, particularly about prisoners in Guantanamo and so on. These are official informations, and of course, it's not allowed that you disclose information. So that was something very harmful or very ill-intended to me, because if that would have really been my page, I would have been, punished, because that's breaking the procedures. That's not normal. Of course, it wasn't my page. Somebody did that on purpose to harm me. And it was easily proven, because on that site where they created this page or this account in my name, I never entered, actually, never in my life. I didn't have an account of my own. I didn't write there. I never even accessed that site or whatever it's called. So it was easily proven that it's not me who wrote it, and it's not my account. But the point is, it was somebody who was ill-intended and wanted to harm me, particularly in my workplace, and my workplace. And what I want to point out is that I explained already in other videos about this individual, that he's pushed for a relationship and so on. And it doesn't really matter all the details. I'm not going to enter again into details. The point is, I was intrigued by his behavior. I was very intrigued because I was always a very focused person. I established my objectives either in personal or professional life, and I always followed that, and it seemed to me way too crazy what he's doing. So I sort of investigated, if you want. I observed, I would put it this way, I observed very closely what is going on, and because at the time I was not aware about this, but Of course, now I know, because of my gifts, my spiritual gifts, I could understand, and I had many revelations during that time, from God, from Virgin Mary, from different saints with whom I work in my spiritual path, and so on. And essentially, what I discovered, because he was extremely persistent. He was extremely persistent. He's still extremely persistent even to this day. But I didn't speak to him since then. My point being that, since he was this persistent, and then he started contacting my neighbors, my co-workers, my friends from school, from high school, from before high school. I was shocked because, and he started the whole campaign of bullying at me, where many of his hoes, I would call them, would essentially express, some of them I never knew about them, and they would essentially approach me and tell me, that about him. It's unbelievable. They would tell me about him. You know that he loves you. I'm like, who told you? Who told you about me? How do you know my name? How do you know who I am? How come you come to? He was sending them. It's so I was really shocked. There were friends of mine with whom he started relations. He slept with my friends and then sent them to me to tell me that I am wrong. I should change my mind. I should be more open. So it was a very shocking experience. Therefore, I started investigating, and it was very good. Because I was having also revelations. So I was like, why is this important to me? Because my instinct was to just ignore him, my initial instinct. I was like, just get the fuck away from me and leave me alone. But then, because I was getting these revelations from God, I started investigating. In spiritual terms, I didn't actually go to investigate him, but I was just trying, exactly like in spiritual terms. And I realized, I learned actually some of this information, I must be honest, that he told me himself. So some of these are actually from him, namely that there is this system in which specific institutions, public institutions, Intel, police, other institutions, which essentially have groups of men, humid, that is called humid in, for those who are used with the professional slang of military. Humid personnel. So they have humans whom they teach, men, but also women, whom they teach to go create these open relations, essentially to make claims on other people. And they essentially have this individual. At the time when I was researching this in 2015, I realized he has over 100 women, that he claimed. So he entertained this kind of open relations with 100 women at the time. I really, honestly, I will tell you, I felt sorry for him in that moment, because I was like, this man cannot be happy. This cannot be fun. I'm sorry, this cannot be fun. It should be at least exhausting, if not more. It's not possible that you do this and you feel okay. But many of the things actually I learned from him. Because when he first invited me out, as he was investigating the case, and he invited me out for a drink, saying that he has news about the file and so on. I was interested to find out, because it was my file and my case of stolen identity, so I was interested to find out what's going on. But then essentially I got this information from him, where he more or less acknowledged the fact that he is flirting with me based on an official mandate he has, right? Because he started flirting with me, so I essentially I just cut him off, and I said, this is a mandate. This is, are you sent here to do this? And he agreed. He actually acknowledged that indeed it was a mandate, and he was officially sent to flirt with me. So we started our dialogue from this me discovering that he is actually sent to flirt, and that clearly sort of made me very curious, because I even told him, I said, I don't understand. I understand your intel, but I don't understand why your institution is interested on his employees, their employees, to flirt with women in other institutions. I mean, what do you think you gain from this? So important. I mean, I can imagine what would you try to gain, but otherwise, don't you think that we're not stupid also? We've been trained as well to protect information and so on. What do you think you're going to gain? It was not clear to me at the time. I was strictly thinking in terms of my in protecting the information that I work with. I didn't not imagine all this madness, but what essentially they do, I discovered later on as I investigated this, is that they claim women and they claim their rights. And because they claim their rights, and when I say this, you must understand that they claim even married women. So it really doesn't matter to them that they're married or anything. And this is done officially. I don't know in other countries, but in Romania, I think in 2016, 2017, there are also, how is it called, newspaper articles in which this was actually unraveled and acknowledged at the time, that there are specific institutions who use actually intimate personal relations with individuals from different institutions to control what is going on in that institution, to influence different decisions, to gain information, to so on. But at the time, I already discovered that it's much more than that. It's much, much more than that. Actually, around that time, I discovered, because in January 2019, God revealed to me this thing about claims, which was totally unfamiliar to me. I didn't know about this. So that's when God showed me actually what they do is they make claim on a woman. They use the natal chart in order to steal her rights. And essentially they divert the rights of that woman, either in terms of promotion, status, money, and so on, to whoever they want. This is why they do this. And this is also part of the matrix. Many of these individuals are participating, are members in these cults, secret societies of religious spirituality. Many of them, and they do this, then they create these rituals of wedding. I called that stealing the wedding vows. You can call it however you want. The point is, there are individuals who actually impersonate you, and they get married with other individuals, and you're not aware that essentially you, in spiritual and astral terms, you are married. And even in 3D, they have a freaking document in which you appear married with some individuals, not only one, but many, and you just appear married to them. And based on that, they have different rights, which they steal from you. This is different type of information, which is a little bit closer to 3D reality, usual day-to-day life of everyone. I highly recommend that you claim justice from God, and you ask to be revealed to you about this, if it affects you, because God has shown me, as I was in shock, God has shown me that they have done this to many individuals. Because, for example, they even got to that level where claims on individuals are being used to finance public institutions, political parties, political campaigns, different types of activities, all these secret cults, societies, They are financed by this. Not only the members, but also organizations, are full organizations, are being financed by stealing rights from different individuals, by selling those individuals. They got to the point, God was showing me, they got to the point where somebody claims you, and because they need money urgently, they sell that right over you, which they normally have because of whatever ceremonial ritual they did on you. They sell that to another one, you know. Like, for example, God has shown me about my ex-husband, I divorced him in 2004, and he was selling this kind of contracts because it's apparently he was in one of these cult secret societies. So and as I said in the previous video, if one member of your family signs up to these secret societies, you must know that it's embedded in the membership, namely that that individual gives rights over the entire family. That means they give rights over you, they give rights over your children, over your properties, over your rights and gifts and so on. And based on that, darkness is being sent to everyone involved. And again, in this video, God has shown me to talk about this Gigolo Boy network, which is being used. But I call it Gigolo Boy, but it's also created by using women to do the same to men, you know. And you discover that, I mean, this is not really completely new. Because later on, after I learned about this, I started researching, and I saw that there are different other individuals throughout time who actually confessed about this. Like I read about UK, a woman who was campaigning for something, and she got married to an individual, and she learned much later that he was intel officer sent to spy on her to know what her movements of feminism, whatever, was planning to do next, something like this. So it is something like this, but it is much more dangerous because it is being done in behind the scenes, without you even being present, without you even knowing these people, but it has consequences on your life. I mean, if you don't fight it, you must understand it, you must be aware of it, you must check if you are affected by it, and if you are, then you must fight it. This is a bondage which you must break. Unless if you don't break it, then it's going to affect your material existence. Namely, you will not have access to your rights. And I know that many people have a wrong perception about what to do in this situation. I myself must confess that I was guilty of this before I started my spiritual fighting, because usually when somebody would take something from me, I would always think God will punish them and I will get other, because, you know, I can do it. You know, I can get another position, I can get another promotion, I can get another this, because I'm good and professionally, and I know I can get it, and I'm not concerning myself with this, and God will punish them anyway, you know, and then move on. And God has shown me when I started my spiritual fighting consciously, and he showed me all of this which was created. God, so I said, because I asked him, why did you tell me? And God said, well, I showed you when this happened. I showed you when they stole this from you. I showed you when they stole this from you. And I said at the time, yeah, but I didn't want that promotion because I didn't want to work in that office. So I didn't care they stole it. And God said, yeah, but that is because of a pattern which is a result of a contract which was made on your rights. And it's not the matter if you wanted to work in that office. The matter is that is your right, and you shouldn't allow to be stolen only because this was only a pattern which I was showing you. Then it will spread, and of course it will steal more and more and more from you. You must fight it back. This is a basic rule of astral. What you allow continues. If you don't fight, it will continue. This is the basic lesson empaths needs to learn. You don't allow, you don't let it slide. Anytime when somebody trespasses, anytime that anybody touches your rights, your gifts, your boundaries, you don't let it slide. You fight for it. Although it can seem kind of funny, this thing with a gigolo boy, really it's not. Initially I was shocked by it, and I even told this man, I said, I feel pity for all of you. This is not normal that they actually ask you to do this, because this is like you work for some sort of prostitution institution. This is not normal. This is private. Relations are private and intimate, and you should be able to choose with whom actually you engage in this kind of relation. This is not healthy for you. Anyway, but besides this really has a very serious impact, because it comes down to the fact that only signing up and working for a public institution, they already created this system among themselves in which, according to the structure of the government, certain institutions have rights over other institutions. Like Intel has rights over MFA. And then they say, then we claim all the women or all the men in that institution and their rights. And we decide who gets what, because we take most of the rights. This is madness, really, but it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. I resigned, actually, based on this reality and the attacks which they were launching at me. And the confrontation which I had, because I defended myself during the attacks, and one of them was actually very offended. And he said, he said to me, who do you think you are to defend yourself against us? Because I had a sword of light and they didn't. So I could defend myself. And he said, who do you think you are to defend yourself? We have rights over you because of the institution. And they said, you have what? You have what? Oh my God, you're so wrong. And you're going to be in for such surprise. Nobody has rights over me. This is so deeply wrong. And next day, I went and I resigned. And I told him, I will resign from MFA. Nobody, if you think a fucking public institution has rights over me or can create for you the authority to gain rights over me, or whoever you think you talk to in your crazy lunatic institutions and organizations, then you're mad. And I will prove you wrong. I'm not. So I did resign from that. And if I knew earlier, I would have resigned earlier, obviously. But that sort of explained many of the things which were puzzling me in public institutions, namely why nobody actually wants to be efficient and solve certain problems and so on. So I realized after that, as I started my spiritual fighting, that many of the dysfunctional things in public institutions are because of this. Because actually the public institutions are being used in astral to use claims on the employees, on their rights, and not the true policy is not done by them, by public institutions and governments and so on. It is just one feeding machine. The entire system of public institutions is only a feeding machine, a machine of feeding the higher level of the matrix with rights, with energies, vampirizing all of these individuals. They even have, in institutions, they even have this energetic blockage in such a way so people are almost numb. They don't really feel that they are being attacked unless they actually do work with their own energy to clean up energy and so on. I'm going to stop here. This is what God has guided me to tell you today. again, about this system in which men or women from certain institutions or certain organizations, they actually, as a job description, this is what they do. They open relations, intimate, private relations with different people, women or men, only to claim them. And again, this man had in 2015, when this was not so spread, he had over 100 women claimed. Only him, only one man. So you can imagine what it means. So you will be aware, basically. And if you're pursuing a relation, I just think this is important, and it's important for you to claim, to ask God to guide you, spiritual guidance from the divine realm, in order for you to evaluate the type of intentions behind that whatever relation you're starting, or you're interested to start, or you're even considering maybe to start. I think it's important. I think it's also important to do retrospect analysis and investigation on your past, to understand with whom you've been in touch with, who claimed what on you, and signed up contracts on what. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, or if you have been married with someone, and they were part of these organizations, they can easily sign contracts for sacrifice rituals on you and so on. So this is important, and I speak from experience, as I said. The creep that I was married to, actually, we divorced in 2004, and he continued to sign contracts on my properties and myself up to 2018. And even now, God is showing me that he's doing this. And I didn't even speak to him since then. But he still does it. He still does this. So you must understand that these people that enter these secret societies, usually they don't easily break off to leave. So it's up to you to break off relations with them and to break whatever bondage they created on you. Okay, I'm going to stop here because it's really long video. I hope this helps you. I know that this is useful information. I just hope that you will use it in order to advance in your own spiritual fighting and bondage breaking.